Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Well, round 5 of this series, but the 4th race of round 5, just coming up, the 4th of 4, the 2nd of the reverse grid races. Well, we've had a lot of action down in the paddock since the end of the last race. In fact, the result has been changed. There's been penalties hanging out. That's going to make quite a bit of difference. But just let's bring you right up to date with that. The first 3 in the race you saw at lunchtime, Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kisch and Adam Latko, that result stays the same. But then penalties for both Gerhard Körber, that was for overspeeding. That was a 30-second penalty. And then another penalty for Anthony Janiek for missing, for going wide basically and taking advantage at the corners, and that has cost him 10 seconds. So that means that the final result of that race 3 was Hahn, Kisch and Lacko. Then Ellen Law moves up to 4th place, Sasha Lenz moves up to 5th, Ryan Smith up to 6th, Jerry Foreman to 7th, and Gerd Körber to 8th, which means, of course, he will start in pole position for this upcoming race, because it is the reverse grid race, top 8 finishes reversed. Then Anthony Janiek, he got a penalty, as I mentioned, and then Nagelvoort, Kursim, Orsini and Harm. Now, you saw Stephanie Harm pull off. That was a problem with her steering. The steering box was pouring out oil, and the team were worried that that would get on the racetrack, so they pulled her out of the race. That, I believe, has been fixed. We saw Ryan Smith already finish 6th. We saw him limping to the finish. That was a matter of overheating, and I believe that that problem's also been fixed. So the big story really is around Gerd Körber. This has been a problem over the years, overspeeding, and so he gets a penalty for that. And just to clarify that, I think we got it the wrong way round actually, that Körber got a 10-second penalty and the number 8 truck got a 30-second penalty for track limits. So that skews everything around. There is the 30 truck of Sasha Lenz. Can't miss that bright orange truck, 2nd generation truck racer. One thing maybe I didn't mention, of course, in the earlier broadcast, 6 wheels on these trucks, 4 at the back to give them lots of traction. So here on what is still a very hot Hungaroring, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of great racing. Well, there is the number 88 truck of Ryan Smith. Ryan just gave me a Ryan Smith 88 hat as I walked through the paddock, so I ought to put that on, but he of course has got his crash helmet on, complete with the Union Jack, and yes, he's endorsing that. So let's see how Ryan can get on in this from the 6th, from the front row of the grid. So Jerry Foreman and Ryan Smith on the front row of the grid in this, what's actually the third grid we've been given. Sasha Lenz and Ellen Law on row 2. Gerd Körber, despite the penalty, and Adam Latko on row 3. Norbert Kisch, the local hero, getting still plenty of cheers. Lots of people staying on to see this final race. And Jochen Hahn, his arch rival, they're on row 4. On row 5, naughty boy Anthony Janiek and Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort. Then row 6, Andre Kursim and Dominic Orsini, and then we should see at the back Stephanie Harm with that steering problem hopefully fixed. So that is the lineup. So assuming Ryan Smith's truck is all sorted with that overheating problem, then I suspect that he could be the man to beat here, judged by the speed he's had. He said in the previous race he thought he was making very good progress. Suddenly he had this overheating problem, so he had to back off and just make sure he got it to the line. Now Norbert Kisch, there he is. We saw that this morning at lunchtime. He had his helmet on the top of his head and gives us the thumbs up. He knows how to play the camera. Norbert Kisch, well, he's had a couple of seconds and a third. He'll be looking for his first win in front of those home fans. There's the Dutch driver. Don't expect to see him up in the sharp end of the race. I rather suspect that if Ryan Smith gets a good start, everyone else is going to have a big job catching him. And that would be a big day for the man from Mansfield in Nottingham, because it would be his first FIA European truck win. He's had a second place at the start of the season at the Red Bull Ring, but it would be mega for him. There's Anthony Janiek, and there he is, former Formula 3 racer, I said before, but from, well, quite a long time ago now, best part of 12 years ago when he was in the little single-seaters. So he sits there patiently with that special crash helmet hung on a hook in the cab of the truck. Team Orsini, very enthusiastic racers, Dominic Orsini, but again, don't expect to see him at the sharp end in the French-prepared Mercedes-Benz. It should be about Ryan Smith. It should be about, I suspect, Hahn and Kish coming through. That'll be the big story here. Just under 50 kilometres this race, 11 laps of the circuit. There is the second of the tank pool 24 racing entries of Andre Kusim, the young man, out of mini racing, as I told you earlier. We had a fantastic crowd here today, and just had a huge truck parade, all the trucks around the circuit blowing their horns, and the fans certainly appreciating that. There, that 44 truck, I told you, had the problem with the steering box, which hampered Steffi Harm. We saw her win, of course, the reverse grid race yesterday afternoon. That, I'm pretty sure, is not going to happen today, so I don't think we'll expect to see a second win. She's a great racer. Be very interested to see how far up the field she can get. She'll certainly be looking for points. Now, of course, with that change and those penalties, the points have changed. We were giving you the latest positions. Of course, at the very front, it hasn't changed, but what it does mean is that Janiek, who we thought had moved up to 4th place in the standings, hasn't actually done that. He's still behind René Reinhardt, the German, who hasn't been racing this weekend due to personal reasons, although, as we told you before, his truck is in the paddock, and of course the team is also here running Steffi Harm as well. So he remains in 4th place, having come into this actual meeting in 3rd place in the title chase. But it's pretty well all about Hahn and Lacko, or Lachko as it should be correctly pronounced. 242 to 225 at the moment. 10 points, of course, rather than 20 for a win in this race 4. Remember, the 2 reverse grid races for the first 5 positions have lesser points. Second 5 get the same points as in the earlier races. So we'll be watching the point score, but it's pretty certain that, well, it is absolutely certain that Jochen Hahn will go away from this meeting in the lead of the championship. It's just how many points he's pulled ahead of Adam Lachko. See the crowd still here, enjoying the beautiful sunshine. The one thing down in the paddock, or just behind me, I've never seen anywhere else before. They have a tent with lots of little nozzles, which is spraying water. It's rather like the water cooling on the brakes of these trucks, but this is to water cool the commentator and the rest of the crowd that are out there. A very smart black pace truck, and I think we're almost ready to go here. There's the 27 machine then. Good Kerber by dint of getting that penalty, finishes up on pole position. The truck racer from back in the 1990s and twice a champion, was it 2003, 2004, around then. He'll be reliving past glories. Can he hang on? Will he get a good start against Ryan Smith? Be interesting to see. Plenty of people on the grid. They need to clear those away. The flags are flying. The Etro girls are there to add a little glamour to the proceedings. And even some youngsters just having some last-minute words, just to see Norby Kish get his crash helmet on, the flag of Hungary by his name. Black crash helmet. The man who's such a hero here in Hungary. And can he get that elusive victory for this fourth and final race. There's Janiak then. I think he'll have a good charge through the field. He'll want to leave here in fourth place in the championship if he can. But I think that'll be a very big ask. And chanting going on, as you can hear. I'm a little concerned about the Steffi Hahn truck. It seems to be not exactly in where it's quite a way back from the rest of the trucks. I just wonder if they might still have a problem. Good look at the Iveco badge there on the front of the 27, the Swabian truck racing squad. And you see all those shiny wheels. There's quite a big aftermarket market, I should say, in spares for trucks and, well, pimping a ride effectively. And wheels are one thing that truckers do spend a lot of money on. And I see a couple of different wheel manufacturers out in the paddock, particularly Speedline, offering some very polished aluminium wheels for sale. Of course, most truck wheels come as steel rims, but it looks great if you've got the aluminium wheels, just like that one right there. And look at all those lug nuts, or wheel nuts if you will, around, securing that big wheel on with the Goodyear tyre clothing it. The Bagheera, the Czech developed truck, using the Freightliner chassis and cab, but with the home developed Geartech engine. Coming back again past the man they want to win, number one, and all the way around the truck. The tank pool sponsored team, but actually run by Martin Bauer Motorsport, and engineered by Stefan Holens. There's the little devil on the back, on the greasy plate. And he'll be looking back from Gerd Kerber's truck. And I wonder how long he'll be looking back for. So, let's see what Ryan Smith can do today. There's Ellen Luhr's truck. And Ellen, just a legend of German motorsport. There's the Latchko truck on the third row of the grid. As ever, it's going to be a big rush down into the first corner. But say, interesting that we had this overspeeding penalty in that previous race, because that used to be quite a big problem in truck racing. There's Ryan's truck, got plenty of tank tape holding the front together. They must have run out of a bit of front bodywork for that, because I know that team, the Hungarian Oxo team, likes to present a very nice truck. And it looks as if it's been in the wars a bit. Still people climbing into the cab from the Arena Logistics team. And I think everything's well there. And finally the door is slammed. She'll have quite a bit of work to do. ZF gearboxes in these trucks, lots of gears. They don't use many of them. So the Hungaroring, as I said, this is 11 laps. It's just 49 kilometers long, this race. And it's going to be, although it's a relatively short race, it's going to be very hot work indeed. Indeed, the race will last just about 25 minutes. Obviously, the times of these trucks, great big 5-ton monsters, about 2 minutes 15, 16 is a good time round here, very good time. So the lights are flashing on the pace truck, and we get ready to rumble here at the Hungaroring. There, Ryan Smith in the 88. See what sort of start he can get. Obviously got to do one pace lap around the circuit, and then we'll be off on 11 really fast, lap 55, just really anxious to go there. The Adam Lachko Bagheera. He'll also be looking for a win, not had one this weekend, been up on the podium, but Lachko looking for a win. He's had plenty this season, but well, today and yesterday, Hahn has certainly has his measure. So the Mercedes heads off around the circuit, the air horns blast out. And there they head around the circuit. Crowd of all ages enjoying ice creams and all the other fun. That young man's just seen himself on the big screen, and so have some of the others. And I noticed that again they've changed the grid. So this is all a little confusing. I was given what I told was the latest grid, but that's no longer the case. And we got, in fact, Kerber there on the front row with the second of the two Freightliners, Jiri Foreman, and then it's Ryan Smith and Sasha Lenz. So make it a little bit more difficult for Ryan Smith. He was on the front row in an earlier iteration of the grid, but not to worry. Just everything getting up to temperature. Remember, as I said earlier in the broadcast, of lunchtime, the trucks have two sets of tyres to deal with over the weekend. They can only use two sets of the 6 tyres, of course, that they have, and they will have swapped those around, and probably some of the rears have gone on to the front for this last race. But tyres could be a bit of an issue here, particularly towards the end of the 25 minutes. So, to say again, it is Ryan Smith on the second row of the grid. This is the third and final iteration that we were given, and it means that Ryan Smith will start from third. For all those fans he has around the East Midlands in the UK, big truck racing area. I know Donington Park, of course, in the East Midlands was where it all started way back in 1984. So this should be a fascinating battle as the quick boys try to work their through, as quick boys and girls try to work their way up through the field. I think probably the second Bagheera, the 86 truck you see there, will go back pretty quickly down the field, but Gerd Kerber, with all that experience and continues to develop that Iveco, he's going to try and hang on, and he tries very defensively indeed. And as we heard in the interview with Jochen Hahn at the end of race number 3 at lunchtime, this is a very difficult place to overtake in anything, be it a Formula 1 car or a truck. So we'll see what happens. We saw in the previous race Ryan Smith really trying hard on a number of occasions. Well, the pace truck is in, and it'll be pedal to the metal any moment. And look at Kerber there, he's trying to get the advantage, and he's got a complete truck run ahead of the Bagheera, and Ryan Smith also is on the gas very quickly, and it is surely going to be Kerber who is going to be down into that first corner first, and Ryan Smith already into second place. And Jiri Foreman goes backwards pretty quickly, and Lenz there on the outside, and what is Kish doing? Kerber in the lead, and Ryan looking for a way through, but he won't get in there. Well, the Bagheera is being sandwiched between two other trucks, and is everybody around that one safely? Yes, they appear to be. And diving down the hill there, and Ellen Lure getting a very good start. She's trying to snatch third place from Foreman, but doesn't manage. It's Foreman still in third place. And then the number 30 truck of Sasha Lenz goes down the inside of Ellen Lure. And they'll all sort themselves out. Brake lights on, you can see on the top of the cab, but it is Gerd Kerber, great sight to see. Truck racer from the 90s, still at it in his 50s. Having a terrific battle. Have I done him a disservice there? Maybe it's just under 50. No, I think he is actually over 50 now. And here they all are trying to sort themselves out. What about Norbert Kish? Has he made any progress? There he is trying to go down the inside of Janiak. Let's see in this shot whether he's made it. No, he certainly hasn't. And tucked in behind Janiak, and I see that Steffi Harm has made up 2 or 3 places too, so she's having a good first lap. And Lachko there in 6th place. So Ellen Lure in 4th position. There's Janiak, there's Kish. I'm sure that he'll elbow his way past pretty soon. And again, the 88 just looking down the inside of Kerber to see if there's any chance of outbraking him, but there is definitely none. Kerber will have to watch out that overspeeding earlier. Now, again, trying to go down the inside and trying to make Kerber run wide is Ryan Smith. But this pair starting to pull away as they complete this lap. And again, Ryan Smith keeping a very tight line, as we've seen him do nearly all the way through the meeting. And then they'll be very soon up on the rev limiter and pounding all 5 tons of them down into that corner. And Ryan trying on the outside, but I don't think there's anything to be done there. And Foreman still in 3rd, is he? And they've pulled away. Foreman actually holding everybody up a bit now. Janiak ahead of Lenz. Lachko in 5th place. Tyre squealing the good years as they race around this Hungaroring. And there's Kish leading on the 30 truck a little bit, but I think has he made up the place. Gets past Lenz, I think. It's neck and neck. Wow, Kish, the reigning champion. And just trying to get, and he finally gets ahead, or does he? And he gets tagged by the 30 truck, and then that all locks up. And damage to the 30, as you can see, to all the bodywork there of Lenz. And I don't think you argue too much with Norbert Kish when he's on a mission. He's certainly on a mission here. Steffi Harm up to 10th place. She'll be in the points. Bits of rear bodywork or mudguard flying. That's something we've seen in truck racing over the years. Kerber hanging on though, coming under pressure again from Smith. Again, he dives out of the slipstream, see if there's anything he can do, and trying to force the wily old Kerber into a mistake. A bit coming off Janiak's truck, I think, just sliding to the Armco barrier. And there, a move from the number 3 of the man who's had 2 wins, Jockey Hahn. He's actually down in 9th place. Well, that is going to please Lachko, because he'll be able to close the gap up in the championship if it stays like that. It doesn't happen to Jockey Hahn. Now he goes round the 30 as he completes this lap, but it's Kerber in the lead from Smith and Foreman. Lure in 4th place, Lachko, I should say, Janiak, Kish, and Hard. They're the top 8. Lenz drops down to 9th. Stephanie Harm is at 10th. And there is Steffi Harm. And she tries to go past the 30 of Lenz. I think she's going to make that stick. There they are, absolutely truck handle to truck handle. Doorknob to doorknob. There's Foreman doing a good job. He's not had too much racing experience. He's racing in the UK, coming out of karting actually. And the Czechs hoping he'd be the next real hero. Kerber with a 0.6 of a second lead, or it was like that when they crossed the line. It won't stay like that for very long. And there's the Ellen Lure, truck 10, pushing hard for third place, trying to find a way around Jiri Foreman. I'm sure she's got a bit more speed than him. And Hahn just getting a fastest sector 1 on this lap. We've just got a little bit of fresh air so he can close up on the trucks in front of him. Kish only in 7th place, Hahn in 8th. They're behind Janiek. Meanwhile, it's Kerber who is in the lead. Well, I'm not sure when Gerd Kerber had his last truck racing victory. I believe it's been quite a while. Can he hang on? We've still got 9 laps to go. Early days yet. Well, 8.5 laps to go to be precise. 86 truck in 3rd place then. Pushed by the truck with the maple leaf on the side. Ellen Lure onto the brakes there. It seems he hit the brakes quite a bit earlier than the Bagheera, but now she's giving them Bagheera maybe a bit of a tap up the back. And meanwhile at the front, Ryan Smith not really making much impression on Gerd Kerber. Double former champion, but over a decade ago, but having a bit of an Indian summer here, that's for sure. Kerber pulling away a bit now. I just wonder if Smith might be having a bit more of that overheating problem we saw earlier. Foreman hanging on in 3rd place, and his more experienced teammate Latchko goes past Lure and moves up a slot, and I wonder if there's big team orders here. I can see that Foreman won't offer much resistance to Latchko. 86, 755, and Latchko already lining him up to go by. You'll see him in the mirrors and hanging the tail out there, absolutely on the limit of truck adhesion. So, a little surprised that Kerber is getting away from Smith out the front. They have broken away some 4.5 seconds from the rest of the field. There's another great shot of Ellen Lure running in 4th place. If the Bagheeras sort themselves out, or in fact Ellen Lure in 5th now, dropped behind Latchko. And look at Hahn trying to find a way around Janiek. He's going to be frustrated. Hahn and Kish still in 7th and 8th, tucked up behind Janiek, and he's a difficult man to get by. Janiek in the yellow truck, former single-seater racer from France. They're the 2 Bagheeras, haven't switched positions yet, so I'm sure that will happen. And there's championship leader, 3 times former champion, Jochen Hahn. Is going to be dropping a few points here then to Adam Latchko in the championship, unless he can get past the yellow MAN. About half the field in MANs, great supporters of truck racing. And now I feel that Ryan Smith's having a bit of a second wind and getting really close to Kerber, having to think about where he can get by. So inexperienced relatively. And then there you see there's the switch. 55, Latchko moves up ahead of his teammate into 3rd place. And meanwhile, number 10 of Ellen Lure starts to challenge Foreman. And just about to go around the outside of him, I think. So it is the Bagheeras at the moment in 3rd and 4th with their Geartech developed engines based on the Caterpillar architecture, but a lot of work done by the Czech team. Very tricky fuel injection system. They're selling those engines, particularly for Dakar competitors and Baja competitors. And all cars and trucks all over the place there. And the Ellen Lure 10 losing out, and that certainly helped Kish. And now Kish has got alongside Janiek, and he's certainly leaning on him, and still desperate to get by. And of course he's got Hahn right up behind him. These two have traded paint on numerous occasions in the past. But Janiek just staying there firmly in a 6th place, and as we've seen all weekend, a difficult man to pass. Now, what about Smith? It's 0.6 of a second last time across the stripe. That battle at Allure right in the middle of that. And Latchko, I think, just pulling a bit away from Foreman. There's the 44 truck, and that is moved up to 9th place. As I said, she won this reverse grid race yesterday. Not going to be the case today, but putting up a very good run indeed to move up through the field and into the points. Steffi Harm, the former mini racer, and here still in the lead is Gerd Kerber, and he knows a trick or two about truck racing. He's been doing it since the 1980s, believe it or not. I think maybe his first race was about 1989, 1990, and Kerber will do everything he can to keep Smith behind him. And Hahn, I think, is now in front of Lure. There's the first two, and then quite a gap. And then Latchko, and then the second Bagheera, and then Janiek. And then we got Kish pushing really hard, trying to find a way past Janiek. He's going to be getting really frustrated. He did get a warning yesterday for the action when he hit the Czech driver, Frankie Wojciech, on the run up to the line. And Wojciech speared off into the wall, and he just got a bit of a ticking off, no time penalty, and well, probably a little bit lucky with that. It was the steward's decision. It was just a little tap, but nevertheless it sent the Czech truck into the wall and a lot of damage, and they've got to get that repaired in time for next week, because all these trucks head off to the next round of the championship, the next door country of Czechoslovakia at the Most circuit, where it's also quite a bit of motorcycle racing. So look at Janiek, drives a very wide truck indeed, and it appears there's not much at the moment that Kish can do about that, and the crowd are remarkably quiet actually at the moment, as Kish is only in 6th place. Now, halfway through, Kerber hangs on. You can see that different profile of the Bagheera, the Freightliner base truck. See, it's quite a bit lower frontal area than the Cabo designs. Probably pushes it through the air a little bit quicker. And again, Kish trying to find a way by, but Janiek is not giving any quarter at all. But they now hold up behind the second of the Bagheeras, and Jiri Foreman, not used to being up with this sort of talent, and indeed he cedes the place to Janiek, and I'm sure the two behind will go past him as well in just a moment. And as they come into the climbing corner before the pits, gets quite a good drive out of there from the 4 back wheels. But how good is he on the braking? I think Kish is great on the brakes there. Nice shot of Hahn. They dive down here, and again Smith is still just half a second behind Kerber. And then it's Latchko out on his own, and Janiek, and then Jiri Foreman, second, the young Czech driver. It's come out of karting. That's a big change. And you see all the steam coming off the brakes of Ryan Smith's car, the water squirting onto those big disc brakes. Ryan's pretty heavy on the brakes, I know. No ABS in truck racing, or traction control for that matter. Kerber then, will it be the old boy going back to his victorious ways? Well, it could be. Second half of the race, Kerber increased the lead to 0.7 of a second, and this is Latchko trying to get past Jiri Foreman and giving a little nudge probably, and I think Foreman not used to racing in this company really. And get Hahn just seeing if he could dive down the inside, and we've got a train of 5 trucks there, and more now, so 44 joins in, and I've got 2 ladies racing in 8th and 9th places. Very close battle between them. Anything can happen in this group. We've had some 3 very clean races by and large, except for that last corner incident yesterday afternoon. couple of spins, but nothing too dramatic. Janek, in fact, has managed to pull out a little bit, because I'm sure that Foreman is holding up the big heavyweights of this championship. And there, has Kish got her way through now? No, he still hasn't. And Hahn trying to go with him, and Kish trying to go around the outside, but it's a long way round. He can't make it. Kerber still in the lead from Smith and Latchko. Janek in fourth place, out on his own. And then this battle, this quartet of trucks headed by young Jerry Foreman. And this will be one of his best results of the season. Jerry doing a good job there, starting, of course, on the front row of the grid. There's Kerber still, and Smith now only 2 or 3 feet behind him, but that's one thing. Finding a way past is another. And Kish and Hahn still hard at it as the laps tick away. Really torturing the tyres and the brakes. Well, these tyres probably not at their best anymore. And 44, Arb and Lenz, 2 German drivers together. There is good Kerber then. Team Schwaben trucks. As I said earlier, I saw a whole group of their fans with Team Schwaben truck racing t-shirts, and on the back it says "fingers crossed" for Team Schwaben. Well, I bet their fingers are well and truly crossed right now, because Kerber could have a victory here. And part of that is because he got the penalty in the previous race. Warning for number 10, Ellen Lure, for smacking one of those marker turns, actually at turn 1. That's an unusual place for that. Now, Ryan Smith. Has he got anything here for Kerber? Switches to the other side. Bit of bodywork flapping at the front. That's where they had made the repair. Obviously the tank tape hasn't held. And he's all over him though. But Kerber, wily old competitor, he knows a thing or two. They climb up the side of the hill again. This circuit basically on the side of a hill. And then you go down to where the water park is. And Smith again taking that tighter line, but it never seems to help him too much. And again, they'll be right up on the rev limiter, more about there, and then it will just sort of like hit a brick wall, and they'll be stuck on 100. And what's happening here? And well, Kerber really protecting on the inside, and then switches back to the outside. So I saw Kerber pull to the right there. I was a bit surprised by that move. I thought very first instant that maybe he had a problem, but no, he doesn't. Kerber hangs on. The gap is now 0.4 of a second. And the Hungarian hero Norbert Kish is still in 6th place in the middle of that great squabble that's going on. They're trying to get around Foreman. Foreman doing a good job. He's learned a lot. 3 laps to go, 2.5 in effect, and Ryan Smith trying to keep the pressure on from the old stager Gerd Kerber. Kerber won many European truck races in the past, but well, he perhaps wondered if he'd ever win another one, and this would be a very rare victory for the Iveco mark as well. And so Kerber bounces over the curb. His mirror's absolutely full of Ryan Smith. Latchko in 3rd. Janek just going through picture 4th. There's Foreman, there's Kish, there's Hahn, there's Lure. As we said on so many occasions, so many commentators have said over the years at this Formula 1 circuit, as again Smith tries, gets out of the slipstream, decides not to do it. This is such a difficult place to overtake. It really does need Kerber to make a mistake, maybe run wide. And then obviously Smith in the Hungarian truck will pounce. There's that great group of trucks there behind them. You see they've dropped well back. See that from our wide shot. Again, they go past the start and finish line. In fact, the start and the finish line, two separate lines here at the Hungaroring for some strange reason. And look at this, the Bagheera really under attack now from Norbert Kish, and that's going to get a very big cheer. And Kish, I think, is going to do it. What can he do? Has to run wide there. But the Bagheera just seemed to have a little punch and an acceleration, and Kish couldn't do it. And the Bagheera then protecting on the inside. And well, so we thought Kish was going to make it around the Bagheera, but it wasn't to be. And, certainly Jerry Foreman using some of his old karting tricks maybe to keep Norbert Kish, the current European truck racing champion, behind him. Won the series for the last 2 years, of course, with the Oxo team, not with this Mercedes-Benz that he's driving now. And Smith there, ever close to Kerber, just waiting for Kerber to make a mistake if he can. And again, a pound past the thumping Diesels. And certainly Diesel dicing at his very best. And still, Kish is trying to get past the 86. 86 making a very wide Bagheera, and it's still just Constantina's up again. Lenz is in there as well, and Steffi Harm. And only 24, 15 and 19 trucks have really been dropped from this battle. So Ryan, I've got my Ryan Smith hat on. Could that help you at all? Can you get down the inside of Gerd Kerber? No, you can't. The Iveco has been developed by the Kerber family truck racing team without any help from the manufacturer, I believe. Certainly going well here. Kerber, with all that experience, keeping back Ryan Smith, will be equaling his best ever performance in a European truck racing event. And they come now up to go on to their last lap. And well, it's got to be do or die now. Kerber defends on the inside, and I don't think there's a way around there for Ryan Smith. And then Kerber cuts back again and still has the lead. I'm hearing a lot of cheering. Has Kish just made a move? Kish had just got past Foreman out of our sight, and I could tell that from the cheering from the crowd. So Kish moves up to 5th place. Jerry Foreman having held him off for so long. There is Janik, and there now you see Kish in front of Foreman, but Hahn still in 7th place. But that might not last. And there Hahn going side by side, trying to go around the outside of young Jerry, the Carter. Kerber's lead last time round was 0.4 of a second. What's it going to be at the finish? So, final lap then here, final lap of the 4 races of an outstanding round 5 of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Still battles going on. But here is the leader. You can hardly see him because the 88 truck was so close behind Ryan Smith. Have you got anything for him? Have you been saving something up? And as you know, well, it's so difficult to get past here. Is he going to try and have a do or die effort, or just go for those 9 points that this will bring him? And again, he comes to the, done that every time, but it never helps. And he drops back in behind the 27 truck of Gerd Kerber. And what a great victory this will be for the veteran German racer. Best part of 30 years experience racing these trucks. And it'll be a great win for him in the Iveco. Here they come. The flag will await. And Gerd Kerber has hung on under immense pressure from Ryan Smith. And Gerd Kerber takes the cheers of the crowd, takes the checkered flag. Ryan Smith right up the back of the truck. Latchko finishes third, takes some points off Hahn, but not enough, and Hahn will stay in the lead of the championship. Latchko finishes third, Janiek in fourth place, and Kish gets a big cheer for fifth. Jerry Foreman, what a job he did, but finally drops down to sixth place. And Jochen Hahn seventh. Ellen Luhr wins the battle of the ladies. We didn't really see very much of Dominic Orsini. And problems for Steffi Hahn again. She limps across the line, I think maybe with a puncture. And Steffi Hahn out of the points here. Very different story to yesterday when she won this reverse grid race. So, 4 races done and dusted. Thrilling the large Hungarian crowd. And they're the big women behind the wheel logo on the back of the 44. And that truck is going to be abandoned there. And here is your winner of the Meritor sponsorship and a popular man, Gerd Kerber. And as I said, lots of his fans here. So I think the Team Schwaben guys will be celebrating with plenty of beer tonight. They probably brought some German beer with them. And now a bit of showboating from the veteran. And Ryan Smith will be pleased with this. I mean, obviously hoped for a win. And as I said, it was a bit ironic, really, because it was a over-speeding infraction, which eventually put Gerd Kerber onto pole position for this race. And well, that was the foundation of the win. So Kerber can count himself a little lucky, but then it's always swings and roundabouts. And again, we see the little Budapest two-step there from those mechanics who've done it every time. So, there, confirmation of our result. The Kerber victory by 0.5 a second, Latchko third, Janiek, Kish, Foreman, Hahn, Luhr, Lenz and Kursim, who gets another point. So, well, 3 times this race meeting, Kursim gets the points, and then the final 3 there with Steffi Hahn just limping across the line, as you saw. So in the points, it goes away from here with Hahn in the lead still from Latchko, probably by about 12 or 13 points. Norbert Kish in third place, and Janiek will have actually moved to fourth ahead of Rennie Reinhardt. Kerber, of course, will also move up, so he'll be on to 82 points, but he'll still be in 7th place. Here he comes in the orange and white truck, I suppose that is, or orangey red anyway. I've been looking for Gerd in the paddock all weekend and never caught up with him. He's an old mate from all those years ago, in truck races at Silverstone and Brands Hatch and so on. And let's see that crash helmet come off. Yeah, you can tell how happy he is. And hopefully we'll be able to get an interview with him. There's Ryan Smith with the 2nd place, equals his best ever in the championship. And he'll be pleased with the 9 points on that. And there's the Hungarian team. There's Kerber, knows how to celebrate, look. Been a while. The Hans device. And, I think he's a bit hot as well. I haven't seen him for a long time. There he is. Oh, got a little grey since I saw Gerd. Excellent job. He gets the hat on. Well, I'd be pleased with that, and even applauds himself. And let's feel just grabbing him there. Let's hear from Gerd Kerber, the winner.
Hey, really congratulations. Thanks, you were under a lot of pressure there the whole time from Ryan.
Yeah, but it was a little bit controlled. Ryan was in the third section, he was faster. I was in the first section faster, so Sometimes we come together, but it was a fair race and controlled by me, of
So
course.
I know you haven't had a win in quite some time. How does it feel again?
Yeah, it's back to the rules, I tell you. I had a lot in the past. I had a lot of wins and ceremonies, but now I'm absolutely happy for the team. He did the hard work, and of course for myself.
Well, the results really show. A big congratulations to you. Hopefully.
And for my wife, he have birthday today, so it's a good present for her.
Happy birthday to her. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Great stuff there, Dakota, and yeah, happy birthday to his wife. I'm sure she's at the race meeting tonight. I suspect she is. As I say, since I've seen him, it got a little bit grey, but he's kept pretty lean and mean. So a famous victory for Gerd Kerber, and Ryan Smith coming home in second place. And so well done. There is Ryan. Look, there's the Che Guevara tattoo on his neck.
Pushing it in case he makes a mistake still. So I just thought I'd try, but fair play to him. It was a good race, wasn't it? And every time I dropped back at one bit to let truck cool down a bit, and then had another go, but just.
He's no shot, Meg. He's been doing
No, because I was running so much water on brakes, couldn't get exit at the bend. 750, had 3.7 bar of water on the back. That should have blown calipers to this bit.
Well, he had a concern about the brakes, as you heard. Nice to bird dog that. Not really an interview, but well, we heard from Ryan, and so well, we're going to hear from him directly now. So let's go back down to Dakota.
Hey, well, really well done. You were trying, maybe just not succeeding.
Tried everything, but the brakes just got so hot. 800 on and 750 on the straight, so I put a maximum amount of water to the rear and it wasn't doing anything. I think we've got a blockage. Same from race 3 today. Did nothing, tried everything, still tried to fight with 800 degrees brakes. Gerd Kerber didn't make a mistake. That's why he's the man he is.
Well, sometimes that's all you can do. Well, you still got a result, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done to Ryan. Certainly coming of age as a truck racer, and well done to Dakota grabbing him and managing to work out his nice Nottingham accent there. So fabulous 4 races. Have to say this second Hungarian Truck Fest has been a huge success, not only from the racing but everything that's gone on around it. Very much a festival atmosphere here, and enjoyed, I think, by a very large crowd on a beautiful day. So excellent racing. As I said, they'll be off to Most for next week. Let's just catch up with the highlights here. Kerber making a very good start. Ryan Smith shooting through to second place at the start. The jury foreman, Bagheera, getting a bit sandwiched, but hanging on to third place. And Ellen Law briefly in fourth. And then the fast boys trying to come through. Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kish, the local hero, bouncing it over the curbs. There's lots of great action there. The number 1 truck did make up the place and got to 5th place, Norbert Kish, near the end of the event. Meanwhile, Ryan Smith battling with those high brake temperatures, as you heard him say. Couldn't do anything about Gerd Kerber. And meanwhile, Hahn, who's had 2 wins this weekend, was battling down in 7th place, but there is the run to the flag with the 27 of Gerd Kerber just hanging on from Ryan Smith, a wily old fox, as you could tell from the interview, and I'm not quite sure how long it is since he's had a victory, but I suspect it's about a decade since he won a truck race. So we will just catch up with the victory ceremony. But, and also to tell you that Hahn, despite his 7th place today, will be very happy with his weekend, going away with a much increased lead. Was vaulted into the lead. Remember, coming into this meeting, Lachko led by 1 point from Hahn, and now Hahn has got somewhere in the region of 12 or 13 points. Haven't quite done the maths yet. Ahead going into the Most race meeting. A babble there in the room just before the podium. And great that Iveco have had this win. Obviously could prompt them into doing more in truck racing in the future. A lot of pressure on Kish this weekend from all the Hungarian media. Never stopped being interviewed. And every time I went past his truck, there was a huge gaggle of people around him, signing autographs, giving interviews, talking to the media. We got a one-to-one with him on Friday morning. It was very useful, and what a nice man he is, Norby Kish. So, shout out then, and there, Adam Lachko onto the podium again for Bagheera. Jumps up. Man's also raced in the World Touring Car Championship, but very much a truck hero, but yet to win the championship. And now Ryan Smith with those wonderful front teeth of his. I'm sure if they're gold or even platinum, but they're pretty exciting, that's to be sure. And then Gerd Kerber, all those years on, takes the top step of the podium and does a Michael Schumacher-type leap. Brilliant job, and yet again at this race meeting we hear the German national anthem. He hasn't stood on the top step of a major truck racing podium for a long time and seen that flag of Germany raised above him. Ryan Smith second for the Hungarian team. And then, of course, Adam Lachko. So we'll cut short the podium version of what used to be called Deutschland über alles. I don't think they call it that anymore. And now the trophies will be handed out. And I know that Ryan Smith is sponsored by a nightclub in Mansfield in Nottinghamshire, and I suspect he might be celebrating on Monday night right there. But the winner's trophy goes to Gerd Kerber, and well, it means a lot to him. The family team worked so hard to develop that truck from something that really wasn't anywhere near as quick as the MANs or the Bagheeras. So congratulations, as I said right at the beginning, a little lucky to start from pole, only there because of an infraction from overspeeding in the previous race. So, you know, an ill win sometimes. The bubbly, are they going to start spraying it? Well, they haven't taken the corks out. They took my advice, so the girls can beat a hasty retreat. And, well, Kerber hasn't done that for a while. Yeah, magic moments for him. And then he sprays it on his team below. Well, excellent truck racing. Hungarian Truck Fest. A massive success here, as I think I mentioned in an earlier broadcast. If you're a big truck fan, why not come next year? You can enjoy the pleasures of Budapest, which is only just a few miles down the road, and yeah, take in the whole fun of the Hungarian Truck Fest, and maybe make a double weekend of it. I haven't seen the calendar for next year, but I presume the Most race in the Czech Republic will be the following week as it is this year. Remember, this truck championship is only really just past the halfway mark, and they've got 4 big races to come yet. Czech, and of course Le Mans and Jarama, which is always a big one, a lot of action there in Spain. There's Hahn up onto the podium for some reason, still leads the championship, and well, it must be a special award for him, championship leader anyway, and gives a kick to a cork. So, well, happy days. He is the championship leader, Jockey Hahn, but well, as I said, a wonderful weekend of truck racing. I think there might be a little trophy for Jockey, and for me, Andrew Marriott, it's goodbye here from the Hungaroring. Bye-bye.